And welcome to another edition of Spits and Suds. I'm Gavin Spittle of 1053 The Fan. A massive thanks once again for the tremendous numbers you guys posted in July. Usually numbers drop off in the off season, but not here. We're getting regular season numbers, and that means the interest of our Dallas Stars is sky high, and isn't that a great thing? Hockey is alive and well in DFW, which leads us into today's guest. We got a good one. You guys have been asking for it, and we're so excited to have him. The president and CEO of your Stars. Additionally, he acts as the president and alternate governor of the Texas Stars, also serves on the American Airlines Center board of directors. You guys hear me all the time, and I'm going to say it to him directly, pumping his tires for what he's done for this team. You're a busy man, Brad Alberts. Thanks for taking the time on this itty-bitty podcast.
It sounds like I have a lot of titles too, Gavin.
Yeah,
Thank
you do.
For having me on. I appreciate you having me on to talk about Victory Plus, obviously, and to talk Stars here in the middle of the summer. And it's great to hear that our fans are tuning in to your podcast. That's great. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's, I don't know if you know this, Brad. We actually started this because listeners were calling me and saying, you need to talk more Stars on the radio. You need to talk more Stars on the radio. So they knew I was a Stars fan, and I said, all right, I'll call your bluff, and I'll create this podcast, and the numbers won't be great, but at least there's an alternate there, and everyone will be happy, and they came in droves. So it's been awesome.
That's awesome.
They called my bluff.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, no, it is great. Did you get any downtime this offseason?
Well, I've had a little bit. I went to Europe for a week on vacation with my graduating senior, but
Nice.
not much. We've been very busy. Just the business of hockey. When you play, obviously, until the 1st of June, which is what we want to do all the time. Shoot, we want to play to late June. But when you do, the summer's quick. And then, we had a number of league meetings. You went right into free agency. And obviously, the announcement of Victory Plus and the creation of our TV network here that we're going to talk about is got us working night and day to get ready for September.
Yeah, a lot of people are wondering about Victory Plus. Let's start there. Are there any updates that you can give us? We saw the announcement. The announcement went over extremely favorably, which is awesome to see. Got a lot of publicity. Has there been any developments since that you can fill us in on?
Well, nothing major that you didn't already hear once we released. I mean, we are getting ready for the launch for all of the fans to see, in September before the season starts. So, really a month and a week or so probably away from that launch. And I think we're working on something that will be really, really neat and cool to launch Victory Plus in the way that we feel like it should. And that then everybody can download the app, and then we'll have some content there, and we'll be ready to go for preseason games. I said in another interview, we're going to do preseason games. I've been asked about televising preseason games for 20 years. And this year we will do the preseason games at the American Airlines Center on Victory Plus. We'll use it as a great test platform to get ready for the regular season, and everybody can kind of watch our team play those preseason games. So right now we're getting all of those fundamentals in place. We're talking to advertisers and getting the advertising sold, which obviously is an important piece to this to make sure that the economics are in place so that we can run the team the way we want to. But we're really, really excited, as you can imagine, to launch this. We're the first team in the major sports to do it this way. We're doing it for the fans. As we've said, we're not charging. It's going to be free to the fans. And we hope that the viewership will mirror, what we're doing, and certainly the product hopefully is going to be better, than what it was before when people were watching on Bally's.
So one of the things you have so much freedom now. Am I correct? Like if you guys wanted to do pregame skate and just do a dry feed, you guys could do it.
We can do whatever we want, Gavin. It's
That's
our broadcast,
amazing.
and yeah, you're exactly right. We can. And we will. And I think as we get into this thing and we get more comfortable with it and get it started and get it launched, I think you'll see, us play around with it. I think we could do, something similar to what ESPN did with the Manning cast.
Yep.
We could have guests come on and, and create a different, feed for it during a game. And I think we're going to be talking to advertisers to see kind of what brands, want to do. We can do QR codes and do special merchandising. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do. We're going to have great content, once we get this thing up and running, that will be, specific and exclusive for, on Victory Plus, in and around our team, stories about our players, behind the scenes, action and content that people will be able to get access to. So yeah, I mean, we're obviously excited, and there's also a lot of work to get ready, as you can imagine, starting like something like this, and we only really had 3 months to get ready.
So you basically just answered my question that there will be a lot of programming besides the game. Like you guys can do coaches shows, GM shows, players shows. You can have Razor and Mike Heika's podcast on there. It's going to be different, but somewhat similar to what Anaheim has done as far as, expanding the platform into various areas of the team, both on and off the ice.
Yeah, we control it 100%. We've got a lot of time to fill, as you can imagine. We have a network 24 hours, 7 days a week. So we'll need to fill in gaps there in and around the games. And so, yes, I think like I said, once we get it launched, get things up and running, get the season started, I think we'll settle into a rhythm and start to, produce content that the fan base is going to really enjoy to see, things that they haven't, had access to before. And yeah, you just threw out a number of examples of things that could happen. All those are on the table of what we can put on the network, and certainly using Josh and Razor to kind of headline this
Yep.
will be something that we'll be doing and focused on, and others as well. So some surprises and some things that I think people will be accustomed to.
One of the things Sean Shapiro, my co-host, and I were wondering is, how do you convince the bars in this area to pick up Victory Plus? Like Sean was giving the example of went into a bar and tried to convince the bartender the game's on ESPN Plus, and had to show the bartender how to go to ESPN Plus, how to sign in, all that kinds of thing. How do you do that in DFW so that people that are going to bars and restaurants will look up and see the Stars games on?
Well, I've got to give credit to Sean. He doesn't miss anything. And yeah, that is obviously what I'll call a challenge that we've known about since we made the decision to do this. And we're working on a promotional program to reach bars, to make sure that they download the app. I mean, obviously, Gavin, this is intentional viewing now. You're going to have the app. You're not going to just be able to channel surf and, oh yeah, find the Stars and then, click on it and watch the game. You're going to have to know to download the app, and you're going to have to remember to go to the app to watch the game. So obviously, marketing, communication, and promotion are going to be a big part of this. I don't want to spoil all of what we're talking about and how we're going to get to the bars, but it's certainly something that we're well aware of is a challenge that we need to make sure that we resolve and solve before the season starts. And our marketing teams, collectively at APMC and here with the Stars, are working on that right now. It's a challenge that we're well aware of.
Do you think this is one of the biggest challenges in your career?
Yeah, for sure. This is the most complicated business problem I've ever seen in my 20 plus years of being in pro sports. The multifaceted complexities of it, with 3 different leagues intertwined in this, the money, an industry that is being flipped upside down, no real clear, path and idea as to what exactly to do. So yeah, I would say it's the most complicated business problem that I've ever had to solve. And just by us announcing this doesn't mean that it's solved. I think we hope that it is. And we believe that going direct to consumer and streaming is the future. But others disagree with me. And I think there's no right or wrong answer. I certainly don't disagree with them. I'm like, hey, every team needs to, and every league for that matter, but certainly the teams have to look at their own individual markets, their own individual situations, their own cultures and personalities, their own ownership situations, and make the best decision for them. I mean, there is no wrong answer. And we certainly feel like we've done that and we've figured out a solution that works best for us and our fan base. And we're excited to unveil it and see how it goes. And we obviously know that there will be challenges probably that we don't think about today, Gavin, but we're ready to work through those, and we're excited to do it. So we're not scared of the challenge.
You had mentioned the draft to start the program. I absolutely loved how much publicity this year's NHL draft received. It's no longer going to be the next year, the traditional in-person draft model where you see team executives and scouts gather, and used to see execs go from one table to the next. And it's like, oh, is there a trade? Is there a trade? So now it's going to be all in-house. How do you feel about that move? And, what kind of can you give us as far as why the league made this move? And I was thinking that you guys are very forward thinking. I'm thinking that you guys will throw a pretty big draft party instead this year.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think the league's trying to just do things a little bit differently. And I don't know if I don't think they're just using the NFL as the example because that's how the NFL does it. I think it's just maybe doing it a little bit differently, cutting down on, all the travel that all the teams have to do right after the season. I think it, is one of the issues as well. I mean, look at this year. I mean, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final ended. We had to go to Vegas for the draft, 4 days later or something? I mean, it was crazy. It was certainly less than a week. So I think just kind of the time and maybe just people looking to do something a little bit different, Gavin, is what's driving it. And I'm okay with it. I think I'm always okay with, looking to do things a little bit different and changing things up. I don't think you ever want to get stale in this business. I think it's important for fans to see things done in a different, innovative way. And I think that's what the league's trying to do here.
And if the Victory Plus wasn't enough on your plate, early in the season, November 1st and 2nd, you guys are going to Finland up against the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers in the 2024 NHL Global Series. I've always been curious, and I know our listeners are curious as well. Was that something the team raised their hand on, or did the league approach you regarding playing it overseas?
Well, there's a little bit of a story behind all that. It's a little bit of both. Yes, I think years ago, Gavin, I made it known to the league that we were one of the teams that wanted to play. Certainly, we wanted to do all of the major tentpole flagship events that the league has. And that obviously included hosting the draft. That led into the Winter Classic. We certainly said what we wanted to do that. We weren't afraid of that. And it also led into playing in the global games and playing internationally. And I don't know if you know this. I don't even know if our fans know this. We were supposed to play in China in 2020 in the preseason. We were set to go there with New Jersey to open the season preseason wise in China. I think we were playing in Shanghai, if I recall. And obviously that got canceled in the summer before we even got close to the fall of 2020. So that really led. Then the league obviously owed us the opportunity to play internationally. And I kept having those conversations with the folks in New York. And they gave us the opportunity to play in Sweden last year. But Jim Nill and I, for obvious reasons, said it doesn't make sense for us to go to Sweden when we have most of Finland's best players. Let's go play in Finland this year. And so, yeah, we've always been pushing for this for years to play in these international games, Gavin. It's important for us to be part of this. These are big international events that the league puts on, and I definitely want Dallas positioned there. And I think the experience, I know how excited Miro, Rupe, and Essa are for us to go play in their home country and in some cases their hometown. I think Rupe is from Tampere, which is where we're going to be playing the games. So for them to go where they're from and have that experience, I'm excited and I'm happy that we were able to deliver that for those guys. And we're really excited to go to Finland. And we're playing the champs. We know the Florida organization well. We'll have a great week there.
From a revenue perspective, How do you make up for the gate lost for the Stanley Cup champions playing at the AAC?
Yeah, the league gives us, it's essentially a buyout. It's no different than the Winter Classic. The league, this isn't their first rodeo, clearly. They have this set up and they have a buyout kind of calculation that they do with us. So we get paid for the game by losing the one home game to go over there. So it works out fine.
Okay. And I love that you're absolutely raising your hand for these activities. Was that the same as we pull back the curtain for you are responsible for bringing the Winter Classic here and also the NHL Draft? And the Winter Classic was and will forever be really a staple in Dallas Fort Worth folklore. How did that come together? And is that you just saying, hey, we believe that it can come here? Because I truly believe what happened in Carolina as far as them getting an outdoor game wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the success of what happened here in DFW.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we proved to everyone, and especially to the league, executives in New York, that we could sell the Winter Classic on January 1st in a Southern market. And yeah, I was never afraid of it, Gavin. This was one that I pitched to the league. The league certainly didn't come to us saying, hey, we want to bring the Winter Classic to you. I went to them and said, we want to host the Winter Classic. I still remember the day that I called Steve Mayer telling him that I wanted to do it at the Cotton Bowl. His reaction was classic. But once I got him here, and it was funny, he went to the Cotton Bowl on a day like today. It was 100 degrees. It was when we had the draft. He went over and met with Monica Paul, who runs the sports commission, and she took him on a tour that, of on the field. And I remember him coming back saying that he saw what I saw there. And then he also came back when Texas OU had the game, and then he was sold completely. But yeah, I went to them saying, we want to be the first Southern team to host the game. I think they were initially fearful that we would have trouble moving that many tickets at the Cotton Bowl. I was not. I knew that Dallas would respond. Dallas is a big event city, and I knew that this would be a big event. Obviously, I dialed up perfect weather, and it ended up being,
Yeah.
really one of their best games. And it certainly was extremely memorable for everybody that went to the game here. And it's certainly, other than winning the cup, I think it was our greatest day in the history of our franchise. And I know it made certainly me and everybody here extremely proud, and everybody at the league was blown away that we were able to execute it, in such a flawless way. And clearly the game was fantastic with us winning too. But yeah, I mean, we want to do big things here, Gavin. You've heard me say it before. I'm not afraid to do big things. I want to do big things. This is a big market city. It's a hockey city. It's not just a football town. We have a really, really, really good hockey organization here. We're not just another team in the league. And I think our fans love that.
Yeah. All right. Not to simplify it even more, but when you say you propose to the league, I mean, people listening, they're putting together PowerPoint presentations for proposals. Do you have to put together PowerPoints and get with other people? And then, similar to pitching for a Super Bowl, or if WrestleMania comes here, there's various things that need to happen to be pitched. Is it that kind of pitch that goes into this?
It is. And Monica Paul, who I know you probably know,
Yeah.
and you certainly have heard her name. Monica is phenomenal to deal with. Our sports commission is fantastic. It's one of the reasons why we're getting such great events in the DFW area. She is world class. She's respected by all. And it was no different here. Monica stepped in and really led the negotiations, on behalf of the Cotton Bowl, the city, and with the NHL, and ended up getting things done financially in a really, really good way so that everybody could benefit, and made it very, very simple for the NHL to do business with us. So yeah, I mean, Monica was very much involved, and yeah, she was like the first person I called to say, hey, I want to do this. And she's always, enthusiastic and supportive, and she's like, yep, let's get it on. And she helped, bring, the city and all of what that means to the table to get it done. So yeah, we're really fortunate to have a great sports commission led by her. And we treated this very similar to World Cup and Super Bowl, and maybe not as extensive, but she was definitely involved.
Probably one of the toughest things because you're so busy and moving around is, like, for instance, during the Winter Classic, was there a moment that you can remember where you took a step back and just said, wow, we did it?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, remember I went down when I went to tour the Cotton Bowl before I even brought it to the NHL. I went with the general manager at the time, and I went and I just stood at the 50-yard line with obviously the building empty, and I just looked around and I envisioned a hockey rink being where I stood and that place being packed, and I'm like, this would be perfect for one game. And so the morning, as people were starting to file in, and I knew where the weather was, and I knew what kind of crowd we were going to have right before the game, I was standing, right down next to the rink. And I did the same thing. And I looked around and I saw the stands now filling up. And I was like, we did it.
Nice.
And yeah, it was an emotional moment for, for Matt Bowman and Dan Stukel and I, two gentlemen that were very instrumental in helping me get all of this done and getting it sold. Yeah, I mean, as I said, Gavin, it was our second greatest day in our franchise history. And that's when I knew it kind of all hit me.
Yeah. Oh, I bet it was definitely emotional. Okay. So our Spits and Suds listeners also want to know, Jim Lites and Brendan Morrow, well-deserved, heading into the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame. You created the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame, some amazing names in there, both worthy candidates. A lot of our listeners, though, have wondered about the criteria for a name being retired, being hoisted into the rafters. Do you and the team have specific qualifications for a number being retired? Because with Jamie Benn going into the last year, maybe he'll re-sign with Dallas. A lot of people are saying Jamie Benn will be the next guy. I've always wondered about a couple of the stars from the Cup run. Eddie Belfour, will Brett Hull ever be up there? Names like that. So could you explain the process?
Yeah, we do. And we're very protective of numbers being retired. It's actually one of the reasons why, we wanted to create the Hall of Fame, to be able to say thank you and to honor obviously a number of players, business people, builders, not just players, but people that were obviously responsible for, great things in this franchise. Jim being one of those. I mean, Jim obviously was, he created this franchise with Norm Green in the 90s. We wouldn't be here without Norm and Jim. And so obviously Jim didn't play. So that's a perfect example. We're not going to be able to retire everybody's number, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be honored. I think Brendan Morrow is a perfect example. Brendan Morrow was an incredibly respected captain, leader, an incredible player that played the great majority of his time with the Dallas Stars. In my opinion, a guy that deserved to win a championship, but he didn't.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't honor him, because he was an incredible player for us and his teams were really, really good. They just didn't ultimately win the Stanley Cup or the ultimate prize. But the Hall of Fame gives us the opportunity to honor him and to recognize him and to remember him forever. And that's important to me and to our organization. But Brendan's not going to get his number retired, Gavin. He didn't win a Stanley Cup here. And I think that's probably the delineating factor, and it's subjective. Somebody could get their number retired without winning a cup. But if you ask me, and I'm not going to be the president and CEO for, forever, so those things change, but I'm a great protector of jersey retirements. And the ones that we did came with a Stanley Cup, obviously. They also came with a great majority of their time being spent with us. And so I think individuals that spent 2 or 3 years with us are looked at a little bit differently than somebody like Mo, who spent the majority of his career here. So I think, without going into all the details, I think that right there, winning a championship and winning a Stanley Cup is, number one on that list. Jamie Benn has had an incredible career with us. Jamie Benn will be honored by this franchise. I hope to God that we can put his name, retire his jersey and put his name in the rafters. You will know what that means when I say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
okay. What about Craig Ludwig's shin pads? Can you just put them up there with them in? I think that would be good. That would be a good fit, right?
Those have a special place. I'm not sure that they belong in the arena, but they definitely have a special place.
I am going to go easy on you. I do think he belongs in the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame. I'm just saying. I think he was a tremendous leader during that Stanley Cup run. So hopefully Luds gets in there at some point.
Yeah, and he might. I mean, he's definitely available and to be inducted. I mean, we have we have a great group of media that follow us, that are on our committee, that decided. It's certainly not just Brad Alberts or Tom Ghilardi's decision. And so, yeah, I mean, these are, obviously, I mean, you followed. We did, the easiest ones right off the bat. I think certainly the individuals that have gone in were well deserving. And, now it's going to be a little bit more interesting as to where the committee wants to take things. I mean, Brendan's now the first non-1999 Cup winner to get in. And that, kind of opens up his era, which is good. And I think that was important. And we were kind of excited to see that, but we didn't know. There's certainly other members of the 99 team. Obviously, the Conn Smythe winner, Joe Nieuwendyk, being one of those, and Brett Hull, the guy that scored the goal, was another one that could and will ultimately be represented in our Hall of Fame. I'm confident, but we'll see where the committee takes things.
So you're also, as I mentioned, on the AAC board, and you're limited in what you can do about traffic flows on game days with all the infrastructure, Brad. Along with the construction, is that one of the biggest challenges that you guys talk about, as far as like, how can we get, because the game day experience is improved every single year. You guys do a great job. Love it when the barn is rocking. I'm a fan of the AAC. I think it's a terrific hockey facility. I think it's kept up very well for its age. I feel like, I don't feel like it's an old arena when I go in there. You guys replace the seats. You're always making improvements. That's cool. But is traffic one of the issues due to all the apartments going up, and it's kind of like squeezing the AAC?
Well, yeah, traffic and parking are always concerns. But we have an arena in a downtown area, Gavin. And if you travel around, the country, I can't recall many downtown arenas that have, a ton of surface parking. And so we're no different. And so, yeah, nobody likes to sit, trust me, to all the fans that are listening, we get it. And I understand completely. Nobody likes to sit for 30 to 45 minutes trapped in a parking garage trying to get out of it, which is why we try to get people in and out as quick as possible. It's not always as easy as that, but certainly it is something that team executives, our arena people, are always talking about with the city, with police who are directing traffic. One of the challenges that we have as it relates to that is the foot traffic. People, walking out of the arena trying to get to Dart or get across to restaurants, to their apartments, to the cars, to the parking garages. And if we had some footbridges to eliminate some of that foot traffic, you'd be able to get people, in and out of there in a much, quicker fashion. So it is definitely something that we are reviewing. I will tell, the listeners that we're having great discussions, with the Mavericks and with the arena folks about a renovation to the building. We are working on that. It's like you said, it's got great bones, but it's 24 years old. It's pushing 25 years old. And just like any 25-year-old house, you need to upgrade the bedroom and upgrade the kitchen. And I think that's kind of what we're looking at for the AAC right now, as to how to modernize it, bring it up to speed with some of the new buildings that have been built, or some of the new renovations that have been done to the older buildings in both the NHL and the NBA. So we're having really good discussions there, and traffic and foot traffic and ingress, egress out of the parking garages is definitely something that we're having discussions with the city about right now. So
that's terrific.
We'll just see where that all goes. It's just kind of normal, business right now as we talk through it. But I think we certainly have plans to improve and modernize the building, and hopefully it works out.
And you guys also have a new Star Center multi-sport in North Lake being built in the fall of 2025. I just want to stick tap you. Had Al Montoya on a couple weeks back. We've had Turco on. What you guys are doing in the community, I mean, it's truly making a difference as far as the growth of hockey. And to see Hannah Bilka, who's a massive Dallas Stars fan, and Allison Simpson get drafted into the PWHL. Those are people that started here through the Stars system. So it's just really cool to see that not only you're growing the team at the AAC and in Frisco, you're just growing hockey in DFW.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a very, very important fundamental to our business. In some cases, Gavin, it might be the greatest thing that the Dallas Stars have brought to Texas, that we brought the game that so many, now young, boys and girls can play, where they probably would have never had that opportunity if the team didn't come here. I mean, I know how hard it is to get rinks built, and I'm reminded of that every day. And I'm thankful that we've got great cities that have partnered with us to get these built so that so many people can get to enjoy the game and we can spread it. And yeah, we're very aggressive in our growth. We're having discussions with communities outside of Dallas about getting, facilities built. It's a big part of our business, and we know that if we weren't doing it, nobody would. And I think our relationship with USA Hockey speaks for itself. We're getting the U18s, tournament again next spring.
Yeah.
We're excited to host that. And that's just a testament to what we've been doing and what we've done and what we'll continue to do in the youth space. But you mentioned it. I mean, we're not only spitting out, a number of, just house and rec players, people that are learning the game at a young age, that are going to grow up and be fans, but we're now starting to produce high-end elite players, both men and women. And we've got, guys playing in the NHL that played in our program.
Sure.
Blake Coleman.
Yep.
I just saw Seth Jones this weekend. He obviously, grew up in our program as a young kid when he was living here. And there's others, and there's more coming. I mean, Vern Fiddler's, boy is a really, really, top tier player that's playing high level, junior hockey right now. And so there's a number of other ones as well. So we're really, really happy about that. And you mentioned some of our biggest growth is in girls playing. And so having elite players spit out on the girls and women's side is also great. And just getting more girls around hockey is something that we're really, really excited about. And that, again, is a testament to our group that lives in these rinks every day.
Yeah, I think what you guys did on social media, I believe it was Women's and Athletics Day, where you celebrated Hannah Bilka and also Allison Simpson. That was tremendous. Doing some great things. So kudos. Will we ever see Brad Alberts play in a Stars alumni game?
No chance.
What would you be a fourth line grinder,
or
would you be
would not hold up, and there'd be too many guys looking to take a cheap shot at
You'd get run? Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
You'd get run?
Right. No, I just sit there. If you notice where I'm at, I'm usually there on the bench chirping.
Yeah.
Or between the benches chirping both sides.
But if you did, would you be a fourth line grinder? Or are we talking a power forward? Are you a wing coming down? Are you planting yourself in front of the net?
I think with my size, being 6'5" and then putting skates on, being about 6'8", I've got to play defense. I've got to be that towering defenseman.
Oh, I like that. Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I would have been like 6'8" on skates.
That is terrific. Hey, kudos on Victory Plus. It's going over really well. I know it will have its challenges, but Stars fans are excited that your franchise is out there taking the chance and going out to the public with a lot of exciting things to come. You're doing a heck of a job. Congratulations on all the success. He is Brad Alberts, president and CEO of the Dallas Stars. This has been a pleasure, sir. We'll have to have you on again. We'll bring Sean on because he'll bring like all kinds of things to the table too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I missed him here. But, anyway, thanks, Gavin, for having me on. Thanks, Stars fans, for listening, to you and Sean and Luds and what you guys do to promote us. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. And thanks once again to all of you for listening to Spits and Suds right here on 105.3 The Fan. Have a great day, everyone.